दुआ कर लें। आमीन। ये तो औरतों के लिए जा सकती है। वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाह, तशरीफ रखें। मुकर्रम हानी ताहिर साहब तिलावत।
अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाह। अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। क़द अफ़्लहल मुअ्मिनून अल्लज़ीना हुम फ़ी صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون.
अभी सूरतुल मुमिनून की आयात
Donc, les versets de la sourate Al-Mu'minun, chapitre 23, ont été récités. La traduction est la suivante. Au nom d'Allah, le gracieux, le miséricordieux. Sans aucun doute, le succès viendra aux croyants qui sont humbles dans leurs prières et qui se détournent de tout ce qui est vain et qui sont prompts à payer la zakat et qui préservent leur partie intime, excepté de leurs femmes ou de celles que possède leur main droite, car alors assurément ils ne sont pas à blâmer. Mais ceux qui recherchent quoi que ce soit au-delà de cela, ceux-là sont les transgresseurs. Et qui veillent sur les dépôts qui leur sont confiés et sur leur engagement. Et qui surveillent leurs prières, ceux-là sont les héritiers qui hériteront du paradis. Ils y demeureront éternellement. Jazakumullah. Mohamed Ishaq Saheb va présenter un poème du Messie promis. Un poème du Messie promis alayhi salatu wassalam. de notre ami divin, nous avons reçu la taqwa. De notre ami divin, nous avons reçu la taqwa. Nous n'avons rien fait pour l'obtenir. Ce n'est que par pure grâce de Dieu. Nous n'avons rien fait pour l'obtenir. Ce n'est que par pure grâce de Dieu. Nous n'avons rien fait pour le
John Sargent, who is the Deputy Mayor of Merton. As I mentioned, John's a very good friend of us, and this is his first visit to our Jalsa Salana. And he is a member of Merton Council and is a regular visit to our Beth al-Fatu Mosque. I would like John to come and say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum. It really is a great honor and privilege for me today to be invited to address you. Thank you very much. As the Deputy Mayor of the London Borough of Merton, we are very proud that the Baitul Futu Mosque is in our borough. In fact, I'm even prouder to say on a personal note, I'm proud that it is in my ward in Merton. So I have seen many times the activities of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community at first hand in their charity work, the hospitality, the truly wonderful hospitality that they give to people at the mosque. So I see them living out the beliefs that they hold on a daily basis. But today, my oh my, what I have seen walking around the grounds of the Jalsa Salana has been wonderful to see all of the additional things. I was particularly struck by not just the exhibitions on your history, but also on Humanity First, practical, positive contributions to a world that really needs your help. I was very interested to see recently the words of His Holiness when he addressed the European Parliament in December, particularly struck by that address where he called for a more united world, where countries' expression of outrage and concern should be applied evenly, avoiding double standards which are so easy to adopt in a hectic world. It was all the more effective, I believe, because of the quiet and thoughtful way that his words were delivered. And so he gave yet again a meaning to the expression love for all, hatred for none. And similarly, back at the mosque in Morden, as I reflected at their celebrations back in June, I reflected that that mosque was built upon what used to be a centre to distribute milk. Can you imagine it? Distributing milk around the London area. And it just struck me that with all the high technology and the wonderful efforts that go into the mosque now, you're not distributing milk around Morden. You're distributing the milk of human kindness around the world. Thank you very much for everything you do for us in the UK and in Merton. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next eminent personality this afternoon is Councillor Patricia Ellis. Councillor Patricia Ellis is the Mayor of Waverley. She was first elected as a Cranley Parish Councillor in May 1995 and has represented Cranley West consecutively since 1999. Patricia is the Secretary of Parish Council and has been very active in local community as a volunteer with a number of charitable and statutory organizations. Patricia has been extremely supportive of our Jama'at, and I'd like to welcome her to the Jalsa Salana and ask her to come and say a few words.
Thank you very much indeed. Gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm absolutely delighted and feel very privileged to have been invited to this most special occasion in the Ahmadiyya Muslim calendar. It is wonderful to see how a following that began over 100 years ago with just 75 people from one country has grown in number to well in excess of 200 million people from over 200 countries around the world. I understand that a very important element of this Jalsa is to renew old friendships and establish new ones. It is therefore with great pleasure that as Mayor of the Borough of Waverley and on behalf of the Borough Council and the residents of Waverley, I greet you in friendship. You have a truly noble religion from which many people around the world can learn great things. Islam stands for love, tolerance, and goodwill for all. And that is very evident in the immense amount of charity work that is carried out by the Ahmadi people in many, many countries around the world. Meeting you all today in such pleasant circumstances is even clearer to me than it has been before, that irrespective of religious differences, you and your communities are always ready to serve humanity and mankind through, for example, your hospitals and schools, which is highly commendable and deeply aspirational. It is amazing and truly inspirational to see so many people from so many countries meeting here together, here in faith and a shared belief. And of course, the Borough of Waverley, we respect and enjoy the company of the members of your community who live in the village of Tilford and who bring such a wonderful cultural richness to the area. I hope that you enjoy your stay whilst you are here, and thank you once again for inviting me to this very special gathering. May peace be with you and also with your colleagues, friends and families. Thank you indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, our next eminent guest this afternoon is Councillor Sachin Gupta, the Mayor of Hounslow. Councillor Gupta became a Hounslow councillor in 2010, when he was elected to serve as a councillor in Bedfont Ward, and has since been elected as the London Borough of Hounslow's youngest ever mayor. Councillor Gupta came to the UK in 1998 and is originally from the historic and the holy city of Amritsar in the northern India, home of the Golden Temple. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome our Mayor of Hounslow and would request him to come and say a few words.
Your Holiness, Hazur Sahib, Mr. President, fellow mayors, MPs, distinguished guests, and the member of Ahmadiyya community. Assalamu alaikum. It is a great honor for me today to stand here with you and to address this 47th annual Jalsa Salana convention, which brings together people in the spirit of unity and brotherhood. I know we have many people here today, not just from UK, but also from all around the world, because I've actually personally seen volunteers standing at the Heathrow airport from last 4 or 5 days. And let me take this opportunity, as Mr. President said, I belong from Amritsar, and I've seen, it's only about half an hour where Qadian is, and I've seen the conventions in there, and I've seen the community come over there and welcomed in Punjab and whole India as well. And I'm delighted to see many friends from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here from London Borough of Hounslow, who have worked tirelessly within our community for a number of years. We are honoured to have the Ahmadiyya community within our midst, and we are taught the Ahmadiyya community the importance of being a good neighbour, and the Ahmadiyya community as our good neighbour. And on a personal note, I would like to thank Mr. Khan for his, Mr. Latif Khan for his continued friendship. I know he's not here today for emergency reason, but his both sons, Zahur and Hanif, is here. So thank you very much on that for inviting us as well. And Ahmadiyya community continue to play a role within communities and throughout the world, with great relationship being formed through charitable works and in the participation of community projects, whether it's Immunity First or a charity for Mayor of London Boris Johnson as a bus. I'm in a wave of also invaluable work that has been undertaken by the Ahmadiyya community both locally and nationally, and your tireless work for the cause of peace. And the Ahmadiyya community shows how it lives its faith by enriching our society, our country, our world. And I applaud your ethos for love for all, hatred for none, inspired by your belief and demonstrated by your action. May I wish the convention continued peace and friendship. It's my first, I think it's my 3rd year this year in the convention, and it's growing every year, which is very good to see. And a heartiest congratulations to all the Ahmadiyya community for completing 100 years in UK as well. And thank you once again very much for inviting us here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next eminent speaker has come all the way from Japan, and in fact indeed will be addressing us in Japanese. Minska Hiroko, PhD, is an assistant professor at the University of Aichi and Department of Social Studies. She's very supportive and a good friend of the local Jama'at in Japan. I'd like to welcome her and ask her to come and say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. من الأول أنا بتكلم باللغة اليابانية، بعد كده أنا بتكلم بالإنجليزي إن شاء الله.2011年3月、日本は大きな地震と津波に襲われて2万人が亡くなりました。特に被害が大きかった石巻市でヒューマニティファーストは長い間我々を助けてくれました。彼らはとっても早く来て、避難所が閉まるまでの6ヶ月間支援を行ってくれました。初期には食事を作ってくれて、後期にはキッチンを作って被災者が自分たちで自由に料理ができるようにしてくれました。このキッチンは被災者の自尊心を高め、彼らを非常にエンパワーメントしました。また石巻の人々は彼らの支援について今でもとても感謝していて、一人一人を名前で呼んでいます。ヒューマニティファーストの援助は被災者からクリーンでスマートだというふうに高く評価されました。一言で言えばヒューマニティファーストは自分がしてあげたいことではなくて、相手がしてほしいことをしたのです。この姿勢を支えたのは信仰だと思います。彼らはアッラーに見返りを求め、被災者には何も求めませんでした。私はとっても彼らの支援を素晴らしいというふうに思っています。また皆さんに出会ったことを神に感謝したいと思います。Big earthquakes and tsunami hit the northeast coast of Japan in 2012 March. As a result of the disaster, about 20,000 people are dead or missing. The largest number of this was in the Ishinomaki city, Miyagi Prefecture. Your NGO, Humanity First, came to Ishinomaki very early, and they stayed there about 6 months. At the beginning, Humanity First served food and hot drinks twice a day, and later on, they made a kitchen and offered foodstuffs for survivors. This teaching raises survivors' self-esteem and makes them empowered. Humanity First members spend a lot of time with survivors, so Humanity First and survivors become so close. Survivors say Humanity members is my family. It was really brilliant aid, and it was really amazing. I would like to say thank all of you for two things. One, for your remarkable and wonderful aid to non-Muslims. Next, for what Humanity First and the Ahmadiyya community showed me a very nice face of Islam, symbolized by your slogans, love for all, hatred for none. And I impressed a lot. So thank you so much. Shukran jazilan. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran.
Thank you very much. Allah bless you. Our next eminent speaker is Benedict Rogers. Benedict is a passionate advocate of human rights across the world. Ben is the East Asia team leader at the International Human Rights Organization Christian Solidarity Worldwide, where he specializes in Burma, Indonesia, and North Korea, and oversees the organization's work in the rest of the region. He has traveled extensively to the region, and in 2011 he co-founded the International Coalition to Stop Crimes Against Humanity in North Korea, bringing together more than 40 organizations from around the world, including Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and the International Federation for Human Rights. His current work is focused on Indonesia, where he has visited many who have faced persecution simply for their faith. I'm delighted to welcome Ben to the stage and would like to request him to come and say a few words.
Distinguished members of the community and distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum. It is a very great privilege to be with you today, particularly on this, your UK centenary, and to have this opportunity to say a few words. The motto of the organization that I work for, Christian Solidarity Worldwide, is a voice for the voiceless. And we have another motto also: pray, protest, and provide. Together with your wonderful motto, which is one that every Christian would be able to sign up for, love for all, hatred for none, we have a shared and a common cause. In Christian Solidarity Worldwide, I specialize, among other areas, in Indonesia. And I've had the privilege of visiting your community in Indonesia many times. On my most recent visit, just over 2 months ago, I visited your community in some of the worst areas of persecution in Indonesia. Displaced Ahmadi people in Lombok, your mosque in Bekasi, which has been sealed with 20 people inside it, Tasik Malaya, Bandung, and several other parts of the country. I saw, not for the first time, the conditions that your people live in, the fear that your people live with, and the trauma that your people live through. One Ahmadi in Tasik Malaya, which I visited just 2 weeks after a violent attack on your community, said these words to me: "Please let the outside world know that we are not safe any longer in our own homes. It is not free for us to believe what we want, to live a normal life. There are always people who want to force us not to believe what we want to believe. All we want is to live in peace and to freely believe what we want. That is all we want." One thing that has struck me every time I've been with your community is how much you live up to your motto, love for all, hatred for none. When I've been with Ahmadi friends in Indonesia, yes, I have seen, and with very good reason, fear. I've seen trauma, I've seen sadness, I've seen justifiable outrage at injustice, but not once have I ever seen anger, bitterness, hatred, or revenge, and for that I applaud you. Your community in Indonesia is going through the same experiences that Christians and Shias and other communities in that same nation are facing as a result of a serious rise in extremism and religious intolerance. And so I want to end by saying to you that we in Christian Solidarity Worldwide, which as an organization works for freedom of religion and belief for all, we are not just your friends, we are not just your allies. I believe that we are your brothers and sisters, and we will never ever stay silent about the persecution of your community around the world. We will not rest until your community in Indonesia and indeed in Pakistan and many other parts of the world, as well as people of every faith and people of no faith, until people of every faith and people of no faith can enjoy full protection for religious freedom and can choose, change, practice and share peacefully their beliefs. So as long as there is an Ahmadi mosque that is closed, a church that is bulldozed, an Ahmadi or a Christian or anybody else who lives in fear, we are with you. Our voices, our hands, our minds and our hearts are yours, and together love, peace and justice will prevail. Thank you.
Jazakumullah. Our next eminent speaker comes from Guyana. Honorable Manzoor Nadir MP is serving his 5th term in the current Parliament of Guyana, and after having held the office of Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce from 2001 to 2006, he has also become the Minister of Labour from 2006 to 2011. He now serves as the Political Affairs Officer to the President of Guyana. He is a member of the Public Accounts Committee and the Chairman of Economic Services Committee of the Parliament. I would like to welcome Mr. Nadir to our Jalsa Salana and would request him to come and say a few words.
Your Holiness, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And to our non-Muslim friends who are with us, may the peace and blessings of the Almighty be with you. Your Holiness, distinguished attendees at this centenary celebration and Jalsa Salana UK, it is a distinct honor and privilege for me to be here once again, and in particular to bring a message from my President, His Excellency Mr. Donald Ramotar, President of the Republic of Guyana. So let me read what my President has to say to you. Your Holiness, Hazrat Khalifa Messiah V, Supreme Spiritual Head of the World-wide Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at. Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of the people and the government of the Republic of Guyana, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate you and the members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at United Kingdom on their centenary anniversary and their annual convention 2013. Your community in Guyana is the recipient of all of the benefits that other religious communities in this country benefit from. The population in our country is diverse, the majority being descendants of Man-United Africans, East Indian indentured laborers, Portuguese, Chinese, people of mixed races, and the indigenous people, the Amerindians. Likewise, the religions are also many: Christians, Hindus, Muslims, Baha'is, Rastafarians, and others, with each consisting of many denominations. The Ahmadiyya Muslims also belong to the Muslim community in Guyana and benefit immensely from the laws of this country which promote freedom of religion and freedom of speech and expression. I have been reliably informed that your community in Guyana practices its faith without any hindrance whatsoever, and the laws and constitution of this country guarantee them the right to so do. The senior government officials of the present People's Progressive Party, my party, have been attending the national conventions of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at in Guyana. The government of Guyana compliments and commends you, your mission of Guyana and around the world, for the work it is doing for the upliftment of humanity. I would like to take this opportunity once again on behalf of the people, the government, to congratulate you on your centenary anniversary and the annual convention of the United Kingdom Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, and wish you every success in this regard. Yours truly, Donald Ramatar, President of the Republic of Guyana. Distinguished brothers and sisters, on my own behalf, I also want to commend and congratulate the Ahmadiyya Muslim all over the world, and in particular the United Kingdom, on its centenary anniversary and this 2013 Jalsa Salana. For me, attending the second time, I am once again struck by two things: the kindness of everyone I have met, and in particular, in Guyana, your missionary, Maulana Mangat, who has been of exemplary service. And many times we don't recognize those who are so far away and may have the smallest, the very smallest of contributions. But in the world we live, and to uplift humanity, it's those small individual achievements and contributions that contribute to the whole. Martin Luther King once said, any work that uplifts mankind must be performed with dignity and purpose. And this is what I've seen in the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat. One final thing, I know many Ahmadis may not ever have the opportunity to visit the Kaaba. I don't profess always to be the best of Muslims, but fortune has smiled upon me that once I was allowed to go inside the Kaaba, and for that it's a most honored distinction. And that is the one experience I feel today at this Jalsa I also contribute. May Allah continue to reward and guide all of your efforts. Wassalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next eminent guest is a member of the British Parliament. Seema Malhotra is a member, as I said, of the Parliament for Feltham and Heston. Seema has served as a very special advisor to Harriet Harman, the previous leader of the Labour Party. She founded the Fabian Women's Network and has served as the national chair of the Young Fabians. Seema has always been a great supporter of the Jama'at and a very good friend of the Jama'at, and I would like to welcome her to our Jalsa Salana and request her to come and say a few words.
Thank you. Your Holiness, Mr. President, Mayors, MPs, Councillors, members of the congregation, Assalamu alaikum. I'm truly honoured to be here today sharing with you this year's 47th Jalsa Salana, and to be celebrating 100 years of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Britain. To be here also with my colleagues Mayor Sachin Gupta and Council Leader Jagdish Sharma. I was also honoured to attend your centenary celebration in Parliament in June. I also bring greetings from the leader of the Labour Party, Ed Miliband MP. In June he shared some wonderful words about the Ahmadiyya community. He said your contribution to national life over the past century can be gauged from your ongoing commitment to the values of loyalty, freedom and peace. Your motto of love for all and hatred for none is one that we welcome and support. Indeed, it is truly close to the vision of one nation which we speak about in the Labour Party, a vision of Britain in which everyone is equal, everyone feels valued, and everyone has a stake in our national life. Since my election, I have seen even more firsthand your efforts in building strong community relations, your support for
That is the message our Khalifa takes across the world to every country, coast to coast. It is a living Islam, it is a true Islam, a community that invokes the spirit, that same spirit of Islam that was brought to this world through the message of Islam, through the guise of the Holy Prophet, the Khatmun Nabeen, the seal of the Prophet, the revered Holy Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Renaissance of Islam, the basis of which was laid by our holy founder, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. And it is through the leadership of our Khalifa, who takes the message of peace from coast to coast, to country. Indeed, it is a message which has resonated from Capitol Hill in Washington to the home of all parliaments in Westminster. So as the world today, as we look around us, particularly the Islamic world, whether we think of Egypt, whether we think of Syria or Libya or Tunisia, the world is crying out. And the message of the community of peace, of promotion of understanding, not just of tolerance, but living together, all faiths, in the unity of mankind, is the message our beloved Hazur takes to all across the world. So as we mark this most historic milestone for the UK community, our progress of 100 years in the UK has been quite phenomenal. But in closing, may I say to all members of the community, look at yourselves, review your commitment to serve the community, infuse yourself with the spirit that Hazur has called upon on all of us to do. Ensure that you infuse the spirit of service to humanity, because after all, are these not the defining qualities of a living faith, the defining qualities of Islam, the defining qualities of the living, working example of Islam in today's world, which is the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. In closing, if I may, it is my great honor to stand before you today as a minister in Her Majesty's government and present not only the best wishes, but the personal message of the Right Honourable David Cameron, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I spoke to him on Tuesday, and he greatly regrets not being able to join us at the Jalsa Salana. But the Prime Minister writes, I send my warmest wishes to everyone in the Ahmadiyya community in Britain and indeed around the world as they come to celebrate this year's Jalsa Salana. This year is particularly special as it marks 100 years of Ahmadis first arriving in the UK, thereby making the Ahmadis the oldest established Muslim community in Britain. In that century, you have made an immense contribution to our country. From public service to business to politics to the arts, for a small community, you have made a very big impact. I praise the incredible work you have done in helping others at home and abroad, from supporting vulnerable women and the homeless in the UK to the funding of schools and hospitals across Africa and Asia. For 100 years, your community has been a model of integration and peaceful coexistence with all faiths in the United Kingdom. And across the world, you have sought to bring peace and love to all peoples, regardless of their faith. I am therefore very proud of being Prime Minister of a nation where the Ahmadiyya community flourishes and helps make our country a more tolerant and peaceful place. Jazakumullah.
Ghulam Ahmad ki, Ghulam Ahmad ki, Khilafat Ahmadiyya, Hazrat Amirul Mu'mineen, Nare Takbir.
Hazur, our last speaker this afternoon is Right Honourable Ed Davey, Member of Parliament. Ed serves in the government in a very senior position as the Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change. He's a dear friend of the Jama'at and has attended many events, and this year he hosted a very special reception for Hazur Aqdas in Parliament on the occasion of our centenary celebrations. This special event was attended by more than 40 parliamentarians, including the Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honourable Nick Clegg, MP. Ed takes a very keen interest in foreign affairs and is always ready to help the community, especially on the issues of human rights. I take this opportunity to thank Ed for his continued support, and I'm delighted that he is with us today, despite other pressing engagements. I now kindly request him to come and say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum. It is a huge privilege and pleasure to be here again at your Jalsa Salana. And it was a huge pleasure to host Your Holiness and the community at the House of Commons earlier this year to celebrate the centenary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the United Kingdom. And my party leader, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Nick Clegg, when he met you that day, Your Holiness, learnt a great deal from your advice and guidance and a great deal about your community. And he asked me to pass on his warmest wishes and his greater understanding now from you of the work that you do, particularly with Humanity First, how you reach out to others and other communities in the UK and around the world. It's been a pleasure to visit new exhibitions here at this year's Jalsa. And I've seen the exhibition of the history of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And I saw a wonderful photograph of Your Holiness as a young boy. But I also saw a picture of you in prison, where you were standing up against persecution. And I'm aware, as many people are, of your leadership and this community's suffering of discrimination, persecution, and indeed violence. And it's vital that the world knows that this country, Her Majesty's government, and all British political parties stand with the Ahmadiyya Muslim community to demand an end to that persecution. And governments, whether they're in Pakistan or Indonesia, Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan, they must know that the British government believes that your right to practice your faith, your beliefs, is inalienable, and you should be protected. But we should also not be complacent here in the United Kingdom, because we have seen examples of hatred messages which members of your community have suffered. That's why it is very good news of Ofcom's ruling recently, very unusual ruling, to condemn and fine channels that have promoted messages of hate against your community. And I'm proud that the UK government system has stood up for you and for your rights. These, of course, are difficult times in our world. There are many challenges, whether they are in Egypt or indeed, as probably is foremost in our thoughts at this moment, in Syria. Our hearts and thoughts go out to the people of Syria as that civil war takes the lives of tens of thousands of men, women and children. And as a government minister, I am faced with difficult decisions and arguments about what role the United Kingdom should play to bring peace. And I'm extremely aware of the pressures and burdens on other ministers and our leaders, whether they be the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, or particularly President Obama. But I am clear, in my view of the President of the United States, that he is a man who seeks peace and wants to promote peace. And I ask today, Your Holiness, of you and your community for your guidance, for your advice, and for your prayers as a politician and for other politicians as we face these difficult issues. We all want a world of peace. We want to bring into being
जलेंगे वक्त के हर मोड़ पे दिए उसके वो बज़्म में वक्त में इस तम के नत से आया था वो बज़्म में वक्त में इस तम के नत से आया था कि चांद और ये सूरज नकीब थे उसके कि चांद और ये सूरज नकीब थे उसके अंधेरी शब की ये दीवार गिर पड़ेगी रशीद अंधेरी शब की ये दीवार गिर पड़ेगी रशीद किरण बदस्त जो निकलेंगे काफिले उसके किरण बदस्त जो निकलेंगे काफिले उसके जलेंगे वक्त के हर मोड़ पे दिए उसके तमाम मंजिलें उसकी है रास्ते उसके जले
अभी हम देख रहे हैं कि हज़रत अक़दस खलीफतुल मसीह ख़ामिस अय्यदहुल्लाह ताला बिनस्रिल अज़ीज़ का काफ़िला मर्दाना जलसागाह की तरफ बढ़ रहा है और हम आलमी बैत की तकरीब देखेंगे।
Sa sainteté le calife est en train de se rendre à sa place pour, donc dans le chapitre principal à la Jalsa Salana 2013, pour diriger la cérémonie de Bay'a internationale, c'est-à-dire la cérémonie d'allégeance à la communauté Ahmadiyya au sein de l'islam. Je vous dis assalamu alaikum. Comme je l'ai déjà dit, cette année-ci, nous avons eu 540 000 et plus, donc plus de 540 000 bay'as. Allah nous a donné la chance de les avoir dans la communauté, alhamdulillah, de 116 différents pays. 309 différentes nationalités y sont représentées. Donc, cela est de 26 000 personnes de plus que par rapport à l'année dernière. Maintenant, nous allons faire la bay'a.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah. He is one and has no partner.
Pas de partenaire.
And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his servant and messenger.
Et je témoigne aussi que Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam est son serviteur et messager.
I entered this day the Ahmadiyya Jama'at in Islam at the hand of Masroor.
J'entre ce jour dans la Jama'at islamique Ahmadiyya à la main de Masroor.
I have firm faith that Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Khatamun Nabiyyin, the seal of all the prophets.
Je crois fermement que Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam est le Khatam al-Nabiyyin, le sceau de tous les prophètes.
I also believe that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam alayhi salam was the same Imam Mahdi and promised Messiah whose advent was prophesied by Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Je crois aussi que Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, que la paix soit avec lui, était le même Imam al-Mahdi et Messie promis dont l'avènement avait été prophétisé par Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
I promise that I will always try my best to abide by the 10 conditions of Bai'at as prescribed by the promised Messiah al-Islam.
Je promets que je ferai toujours de mon mieux de respecter les 10 conditions de la Bay'a, serment d'allégeance, telles qu'elles furent prescrites par le Messie promis, que la paix soit avec lui.
I will give precedence to my faith over all worldly objects.
Je donnerai préséance à ma foi sur toute chose mondaine.
I will always remain loyal to the institution of Khilafat in Ahmadiyyat.
Je resterai toujours fidèle à l'institution du califat dans l'Ahmadiyya.
And will obey you as Khalifatul Masih in everything good that you may require of me. Inshallah.
Je vous obéirai en votre capacité de Khalifatul Masih en toute bonne chose que vous me demanderez, Inch'Allah.
Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh. I beg pardon from Allah, my Lord, for all my sins and turn to Him.
Je demande pardon à Allah, mon Seigneur, pour tous mes péchés et je me tourne vers lui.
Rabbi inni zalamtu nafsi.
Khilafat Ahmadiyya, Hazrat Amirul Mu'mineen, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis, Qadian Darul Aman, Nara Takbir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ليكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم وتكونوا شهداء على الناس فأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واعتصموا بالله هو مولاكم ونعم المولى ونعم النصير.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
और अल्लाह के ताल्लुक में जिहाद करो जैसा कि उसके जिहाद
The
का
translation is that to do jihad in the way of Allah as it deserves, and He has selected you and He has not made anything difficult in religion. That was the belief of the Millat Ibrahim, and He has named you as Muslim, and before that and in this matter, so that the Rasul, the messenger, could be a witness over you and you should be witness upon people. So observe Salat and pay Zakat and hold fast Allah strongly. He is your master, and what a good master. 19 people from Christianity to Islam. Are we spreading the message of Islam, or these people who are declaring us the kafir? Are we spreading the beautiful, noble example of the Holy Prophet ﷺ? Are these people who are declaring us kafir? Today, are we building the mosque in the whole world? Are these people who are declaring the fatwa against? Today, the help of the humanity, the service in the medicine, in providing water, in providing other needs, and education and health, are these, we are serving the people, or they are doing it who are declare? That by looking at the programs in MTA, there are thousands of letters which I receive, and they are received by MTA, that we are satisfied by listening to this program. They say that at least there is some community who is protecting the beautiful name of Islam, and they are dumbfounding those opponents of Islam.
Ghulam Ahmad ki, Ghulam Ahmad ki, Islam Ahmadiyyat, Insaniyat, Insaniyat, Jama'at Ahmadiyya Alam ki, Hazrat Amirul Mu'mineen, Hazrat Khalifa Caliph MTA, MTA, Naare Takbir.
Again, I would like to mention certain narrations. From Benin, our missionary has written that in America, against the Holy Prophet ﷺ, this very obscene documentary which was made in America, he says that when you delivered a sermon upon the noble character of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, so the national imam of the country, we gave him this khutbah, and when the French translation of the khutbah was, they reached another big mosque, then a Maulvi took this Friday sermon, and after reading a few words, and he said it's a great insult for us that those people whom are not considered as believer by our scholars, they have far exceeded these Muslims who are declaring them kafirs. And then the national imam of the Benin, when this sermon was conveyed to him, so one of the organizer, a Lama, said that we claim to be the torchbearer of the Benin, of Islam in Benin, but in the love of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and in the protection of his honor, the Jama'at Ahmadiyya has far exceeded us. And if any service is being done to Islam that is done by Ahmadiyya Jama'at in Burkina Faso, somebody writes from there that I was an atheist. One day I thought that either I should become a Christian or accept Islam. I saw in the dream that you become Muslim, and just by incident he said he happened to meet our Mullim, and on his radio there was the khutbah being broadcast, and the style of the khutbah and the beautiful teaching of Islam, he said, I have not heard such a teaching, and especially the Muslim ulama has never mentioned like that. So the khutbah so much affected me that I could not stop there, and I immediately did the bath. From the Belgium, a local person writes from Belgium. He says that in this year we joined the Jalsa Germany, and he says that when they listened to the address of the Khalifa of Ahmadiyyat to the guest, and it changed my heart, and I decided that I'm going to join the community. And from France, a lady writes, somebody writes, a male person, regarding the 3 members of the family, he did the bath, and after traveling 1800,000, he went to Valencia. He says that it was always in my mind that this Islam which is being followed by the people today, this is not the Islam given by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Whenever I thought of this, then I used to be very much disturbed, and I used to cry that I should be guided to the right path to such a community who are really, truly acting upon the teaching. And he says that in 2012, along with his friend, he met some of his friend, and he mentioned the whole thing to him. So the friend replied that I had the same situation, but Allah Almighty guided me to a community. And with the advice of that friend, I started watching MTA regularly. And after watching MTA and after listening to my sermons, I was totally convinced of the truth of Ahmadiyyat. And he said, now I have found the real Islam which I was looking for, searching for. So now I have joined Ahmadiyyat with my wife and children. So instead of following the fatwas of the Mullahs, it is their responsibility that they should seek help from Allah. From Niger, Atari Umar Sahib, he's by faith is a Muslim, he says that the conditions of the Muslims in time, I couldn't see those, and I was always worried that how Islam is going to progress. But by the grace of Allah, after getting introduced to the community, the Khilafat and the blessing of the Khilafat, this subject I understood very clearly. And I was very much impressed by the Khilafat because they have got a Khalifa, and Islam made the progress as long as the Khilafat was there. The best thing I like in the Jama'at, that Jama'at, whatever they present, they always, in support of that, they always present the reference of the Holy Quran and the Hadith. And he also joined the community on the last day of Jalsa. Then Abu Zaidi Hussain Sahib from Niger, he was a Muslim. He came from Belgium to Germany to join the Jalsa, to participate in Jalsa. He said before the Jalsa, I was not Ahmadi. But Jalsa has changed my condition altogether. Now I say that everybody should join in this Jama'at, because this Jama'at is actually acting upon that real Islam which the Holy Prophet ﷺ gave us. And I feel pride that now I'm joining this community by doing the path. So he also joined the path which took place on Sunday there. He said, Hala Shiana Saiba says,